Hello everyone, Catherine Morritt here from the Regional Learning Specialist team. How are you all? Look at this amazing state that is our home. We come from all over the regions of WA. In this session we will discuss the depth of learning and how it relates to exam technique in both biology and human biology. So by the end of this session you will be able to use the syllabus to explain the differences between the two syllabus glossaries, that is, the key terms glossary used in the formulation of exam questions and the glossary of biological terms. You will also be able to justify the application of these two glossaries to both your learning and to writing responses to exam-style questions. This is so that you can write excellent answers to examination questions. Because this is the first time we have met, I'd like to ask you many questions about your goals for when you finish high school. For example, what are your reasons for taking ATAR courses? How many ATAR courses are you taking? Do you want to get direct entry into a university? Do you have a course in mind? What are your goals for doing the biology or human biology ATAR courses? Have you seen how the mark in percentages that you get for a course converts to an ATAR score? Let's analyse this table. This is a table relating the 2018 ATAR score to the average percentage needed across 4 of the best ATAR courses. Whenever you analyse a table, first check the headings. The heading on the left shows us the ATAR score. The heading in the middle represents the total percentage for the four best courses that you would have sat. And the 4-course average, the heading on the third column, gives you the average percentage across the 4 best courses. So, if you look down this table, you'll know that to get to university, the minimum ATAR is 70. If you have a look across from the 70, what average percentage do you need? To be safe, I would like you to aim for at least 60 or 65% in your biology assessments and exams. Of course, you can aim higher than this, but I want you to realise that an ATAR of 70 is a rank. It's not the average percentage, so it's not as hard as you may have thought it was, although it does require a lot of consistent study and being able to answer the questions to the right level in the exam. If we look at a diagram of how an ATAR course is structured, then you can start to realise how you can improve your grades. I have made a short video about this that you could watch. You can find it in your tutorial folder. I think I called it Tutorial 0, How an ATAR Course is Structured. So let's analyse this flowchart to see how the course is structured and how you can improve your grades by practicing your examination technique. The ATAR score in Year 12 is divided 50-50 between school-based assessment and ATAR examinations. You know that in the school-based assessment you have 2 examinations, one for semester 1 and the second for semester 2 work. So by listening to feedback and taking on board what your teachers are telling you, you can practice your exam technique. You're very lucky then because school ends and you get time to actually study a bit longer for the big final exam, practice your exam technique, and bingo, let's hope you get even better marks in that, because that makes up 50% of your ATAR score. This document and the short movie are both in the Tutorial 0 folder on your Schoology site. So we should probably take a few minutes now to make sure you are logged into your Schoology tutorials for your side ATAR subjects. Make sure when you sign up for Schoology and you've entered the code for the courses and so joined the courses you're involved in, make sure you have set the notifications because this is how I will let you know when the next live tutorial is scheduled. Let's get back to your ATAR goals. I assume by now you at least have the goal of getting a decent ATAR score, and now you know what that means in terms of measurable goals. My goal is to help you improve your biology and or your human biology grades so that you achieve your WACE and so that you get an ATAR score over 70. If you have questions about the WACE, I will answer them in another session. Let's say the simplest way to think about achieving your WACE is to get at least C grades in all of your courses. If you think ATAR is too difficult or you're having difficulty committing to the study needed for an ATAR course, then you may want to talk to your parents and a member of your student services team who can help you to check if you're on track to achieve your WACE. If we go back to the structure of the courses, we can see where you can make the biggest difference to your grades. It's the 50% exam. So smash out an exam with confidence to make up 50% of your ATAR score. The left-hand side of this chart is practice, so take on board the feedback your teachers provide. Practice answering questions, find your way to learn, aim to get consistently better marks in your school-based assessment. So, how do you go about getting better marks in exams? Let's start with the examiner's report. You can find this on the SCUSA website, and the link to this is on your Schoolology page. This is the examiner's report from biology in 2017. You're probably mainly interested in advice to candidates, where it says read the questions carefully and make sure that you answer the question asked, used formal and precise language when answering questions, and communicate clearly your ideas. I actually prefer the human biology examiner's report because they're a bit more explicit. In the human biology examiner's report, they say you must read questions fully and ensure you understand the meaning of the operational verbs used in the question. To provide an answer that correctly addresses the question, you must know the difference between questions requiring you to state, name, or identify, to ones requiring you to describe, explain, or justify. These operational verbs are found in every syllabus under the heading Key Terms Used in Formulating Questions. They are the same operational verbs for every course. In this glossary, the operational verbs are arranged in alphabetical order, which is useful to finding the meaning of these key verbs. If the key verbs were arranged in a way that showed the complexity of learning and responding that would help us understand how to answer the questions, then that might be also helpful. Thank goodness for SOLO taxonomy, which stands for the Structure of Observed Learning Outcomes. SOLO taxonomy is a model that describes levels of increasing complexity in students' understanding of subjects. It's a model that was proposed by two professors, Biggs and Collis. This document outlining SOLO taxonomy and how it relates to biology and human biology is in your Schoolology Tutorial 3 folder. How to learn and the depth of learning meshes beautifully with how to respond to exam questions. Check out the SOLO taxonomy levels of understanding. As usual, let's check the headings. On the left are the major classes of understanding: does not understand, surface understanding, and deep understanding. The next column shows the levels of complexity of thinking with their definitions. Pre-structural is when the student has no idea about the topic or makes irrelevant points. Unistructural, the student focuses on one relevant aspect only, for example, defining. Multistructural is when the student focuses on several independent aspects. For example, they describe observations. Relational is when the student links and integrates several parts to make a whole. For example, explains observations using biological terminology. Extended abstract is when the student generalizes beyond the given information. For example, uses evidence to predict. Let's apply these levels of complexity in thinking to analyze the concept of diffusion of ions. In your Tutorial 2 folder, there is a short video asking you to observe this important biological cell process and to use biological concepts to explain how diffusion works. Please watch the Tutorial 2 video and think critically about how observations relate to the verb describe and inferences relate to the verb explain. Using solo taxonomy, I could ask you to predict what would happen to a freshwater protist when it is placed in seawater. In case you have forgotten, a protist is a single-celled organism. If you had no idea about the concepts of diffusion or solubility, you might give a pre-structural answer such as, "It should be shaken, not stirred." To answer a complex question such as a predict question, you should move through the levels of complexity. From unistructural, that is, give a definition of diffusion. Multistructural, describe the salt concentrations of the fresh water, the salt concentration of the seawater, and the salt concentration of the cytoplasm of the protist. A relational answer then would have you explaining what would happen to the protist using the definition of diffusion and the differences in these salt concentrations of the three solutions. Extended abstract is when you predict how an organism, such as a protist, could deal with changes in salt concentrations in its environment. For example, the structure called a contractile vacuole. So how do you start to increase your depth of learning? Let's start with the unistructural level and learn the important biological definitions used in your course. A good place to start is the glossary of specific biological and human biological terms, which can be found in your syllabus Appendix 2. So by your next tutorial, I would like you to have constructed a list of the glossary words and their meanings and be able to use these words in sentences. You should also add the bold words in your textbook to this glossary. Some of my students make flashcards with the term on the front and the meaning on the obverse of the card. This can be good fun if you practice with a friend. Also, check out apps for making flashcards. I forget the name of the one that my chemistry students used to use a few years ago, but one I found recently is called Squiz. This app has ready-made flashcards, so may not be as comprehensive as you might need for this course. So by starting at the beginning with the end in mind, I hope that you can explore how to learn and therefore how to answer exam-style questions. So until next time, which I hope will be a WebEx session, I wish you happy studying.